everyone. This is Susana Ramirez, based out of Mexico City. I chaired the project management workshop with GMJ, and I did it because project management is embedded in everything that we do as global mobility services. I thought that it was a very important topic to discuss, and it turned out to be a very important topic to discuss. So over to you, Lachelle.
Hi, Susanna. It was so fun doing it with you. And I'm Lachelle Tender. I am based out of New Jersey, and I was really happy to be able to chair this because my current role is project manager for global mobility, which is a very unique opportunity because typically we are managing projects while doing all of our other global mobility work. So this has really been an interesting opportunity to just be focused on global mobility and share what that experience is like, but also think through how can you leverage potentially contract workers or other people that are within your organization to support some of those global mobility initiatives that you have. So the meeting with everybody and having that chance to talk it through was really interesting for me. So over to you, Michael.
Thank you, Lachelle. Yeah, I'm Michael Hughes. I'm based now in Houston, Texas, in the United States. And the reason why I joined is I thought it was very important from the household goods side of the business to understand how project management can really improve and streamline processes, and also get a view from what's important from others on the call as well to understand how does that plug into their side of the world. So it really helped to build a bigger picture, and I really appreciated that, and I was glad to be able to have the opportunity to contribute.
My name is Magdalena Marchlewska. I'm based in Warsaw, Poland, and I work as a global mobility consulting lead. I've been working in the industry for almost 10 years, so I truly believe that sharing knowledge is one of the most important things about our work. And I think that it's really crucial to create a platform for us GM professionals to share experiences and discuss our challenges. So this is why I was honored to chair the event.
I'm Lauren Inglis for ARPIN International Group. I'm based in Dubai in the UAE, where I've been for the last 10 years. And I participated in the GMJ Congress, much like Magdalena, to share knowledge and to really try and help give back to the global mobility industry where possible.
So it was really fun participating in the Congress and informative, kind of thinking through what are some of those critical challenges? How can we manage our day-to-day? What are some of the projects that are being done out there? That was also pretty interesting, thinking about, your standard kind of ones, going through an RFP and doing an implementation. But there were a number of other different projects that we talked about during the Congress that helped me to kind of look at how could I, as a project manager within my role, maybe support some other initiatives that would really help from operations efficiency, or maybe thinking about different ways of doing new ways of working with all of the changes going on. So it was interesting to be part of the Congress and hear other people's projects that they're working on, as well as think through how they're doing it, to bring that back to my organization and any other future conversations within the Congress group, within our Global Mobility Journeys group. So I think that was something that I really enjoyed as part of being in the Congress meetings. Michael, what do you think?
Yeah, one of the aspects that I really loved about it is to hear, because the topic is so practical, right? So it's really hands-on. And it was great to have feedback and understand what are the tools individuals are using in the form of systems, what are the programs. We talked about ClickUp, we talked about Asana, we talked about a whole different group of programs that can be useful in planning project management. And I thought that was great to have that kind of real down-to-earth application. Suzanne, what do you think?
I agree with both of you. I think that your comment on the tools is extremely important. I really like the fact that we made it very practical for everyone. Everyone was giving us tips as to how they manage projects in their daily life. I really love that comment that use whatever works for you. That resonated with me, and I do have it still in my desk, just sitting there, reminding me that not everything works for everyone. So just use whatever is useful for you. So it was extremely fun to be with you guys, and definitely something that I look forward to doing again.
I thought the GMJ Congress was extremely helpful in terms of understanding the pain points of what the HRs and global mobility professionals are going through. They really actually hit the nail on the head in terms of the discussion and the topic as well. And I was really glad to see that we actually shared the same viewpoints too.
I do agree with Lauren that, it was interesting to hear many different perspectives, and I hope that everybody had the most important takeaways as I did. So I think that also we often tend to focus on many other areas of our work, but actually project management as a topic is very much underestimated, and we often forget to structure how we manage our projects in order to evolve our program, in order to improve things, because we're just focusing on keeping the lights on. So I do think that the topic was very much important.
So in terms of what did I think about the topic and how that applied to mobility and everyday support for an assignment? I thought, number one, as we spoke previously, is that it's an incredibly practical topic. So the great thing about that is it's something that everybody focuses on a daily basis. And it's really something that can either improve your workflow or hinder your workflow. And it's something also that, funny enough, that most of the assignments or the assignees themselves are requesting this kind of visibility. So I really loved bridging those two worlds together, understanding what is, from a day-to-day perspective, supporting the assignees themselves, and what is the needs from the HR mobility side, and understanding how can these two sides be brought together by improving processes, looking at how do we look at project management, and also understanding what are the components that need to be visible. And one of the things that we discovered when we were breaking this down is understanding how important it is, and sometimes it's a given, how important it is to have visibility of the teams and the roles of the individuals in project management. Because often we know these intrinsically, whether it's within our own company or whether it's within the processes that we set up with the communities that we work with day to day. But sometimes perhaps we take that for granted. So if you think, for example, an assignee that's moving, let's say, from Jersey to Portugal, it's new to them. And for us, it may not be. These are the roles, these are the people that are involved in the roles, and help to develop that perspective.
I think that that's definitely true. And especially whenever you think through, one of the comments was, project management is not just about a project, like thinking through, oh, I've got to implement something. One of the comments that came out is that everything we're doing is a project. We're getting person from A to B, and the family and the dog perhaps, and maybe a cat, and maybe figuring out other different elements of this. So looking at global mobility and saying, what are the kind of traditional projects and how do we speak to those? But then what are those non-traditional that we're involved in every day, and how are we building different skill sets as a result of that? And I think the other piece is that, we get so bogged down sometimes by scope creep within projects, is also knowing when to say, okay, I can't take on these projects right now because it doesn't have enough value. And that was another thing that was brought forward was, where do we align on what is really necessary to the business? How do we implement the right kinds of projects and take them on and then drive them to completion? So I think feeling that confidence to kind of stand up and say, not right now, is also important. I think that was another kind of valuable point that I heard during our Congress conversation was, saying and feeling validated to say not right now, because these are more important than that project. But I think that's, and educating your stakeholders on what will it take in order for me to do that. So there were a number of different kind of, I would say, setting some guardrails around projects, as well as looking at what is normally not considered a project, that I really found interesting as part of the topic of discussing project management. Susanna, how about you?
I agree with you, especially on that point around us knowing when to pull back. I thought that was a very key message from the group. The topic, I felt that it's extremely practical. And to your earlier point, I don't think that most of the time we make it evident that everything that we do is project management related. It's not about the big things, as you say, the implementations, but just the daily work that we do is so project management related. And so going back to my earlier point around do whatever it works for you, I felt that was extremely important. And for me, like I said, it was the key takeaway of you do whatever you need to make it work for you in the daily basis. And then when it comes to a bigger project, RFIs, RFPs, then there are definitely bigger tools that you can use and that can help you in driving some of those conversations. But just keep in mind that everything that we do is project management related. So to me, the topic was extremely practical, extremely down to earth to the daily basis of what we do. So just in general, a great experience.
So actually, the fact why I really wanted to contribute to the project, to discussing the project management, was related to my previous role, as I was a business process lead. So I was actually managing the projects for mobility team. And so again, I do believe that how we structure our projects, how we plan ahead, will have it will have a very important effect, and like it may impact actually if the project will ever be completed and whether it will be effectively managed, because the topic of our GMJ Congress was effective project management. So we not only discussed how we manage projects, but we also shared some key examples and experiences how we could do that in an effective way.
With having a topic as effective project management and mobility, it was quite exciting for us on the household goods vendor side, because this is basically what we live and breathe every single day. Every new move is a project. It's about who, what, when, spend, breaking down each part of what needs to happen during the relocation, and really taking the breakdown and being sure that we are being able to communicate effectively to all stakeholders involved as well.
For me, the biggest takeaway was use whatever works for you. I think that we tend to go to bigger tools because we hear that that's the right road. And the answer is there is no right answer except for whatever works for you. So for me, that was the one key takeaway that I even have it classified in my desk. It's there, reminding me that just take out whatever works for you from each of the tools, and or just build your own so that you can make it work for you. Michelle, what about you?
Well, I think tying to that was I was struck by the number of global mobility professionals that felt that they weren't empowered to do project management in the right way or in a prescribed way, and understanding do what's right for you, but also thinking through, as somebody that's been in the field and as somebody that's done a lot of project management, where is that connection back to the community, and how can I support as an individual with experience in project management to elevate or to mentor or to create any kind of helpful tools, or what's the next generation for me in my professional career, thinking about how can I support the global mobility professionals in project management as a part of our job, and for those that don't feel empowered, whether it's nothing more than coaching or whether it's tools and just being available in the community, and I think that finding that right balance to just kind of be a resource is something that I think is super cool. And it's communities like this that allow you to have that kind of voice and be able to help others in their journey. What about you, Michael?
One of the biggest takeaways that I had from that is the importance of clarifying stakeholders and making sure that those roles are not only well defined, but they're well communicated and articulated to the people that are involved in project management. Again, sometimes that's one area that can be really taken as a given, but just clarifying that upfront and understanding it, especially on a day-to-day basis, working with the relocating employees, letting them know the amount of people that's involved, why they are involved, and what's the purpose of their involvement, so that they really get an understanding and clarification. Okay, I'm going to go to this person when I need this. And it's inevitable, because from a mobility perspective, especially on an international scale, to have a SPOC or a single point of contact often is a roadblock in communication, because now you're dealing with time zones, now you're dealing with multiple housing, taxes, immigration. It's almost ineffective to try to centralize that. So it's inevitable to a point that the moving relocating employee is going to have multiple contacts. So it's just kind of reiterating that, listening to the folks talking about on project management and understanding, wow, this is really a key component in understanding who does what, why do they do it, and what's kind of their role of responsibility can really help things move along much smoother.
What I realized is that the HRs and global mobility that we spoke with, and I felt very lucky with the team that we had in the Congress, because everyone was really great in terms of participation. I felt actually quite aligned with what they were saying, and it made me feel like what we were doing was on the right track in our daily jobs. So that would, I guess, be my main takeaway.
It's hard to pick just one takeaway. I do believe that the main one from my perspective was that we really need to find a time in order to focus on the projects, because again, to my point raised earlier, we often tend to focus on keeping the lights on, and we often forget that in order to introduce any new changes, new tool, we actually should be planning this ahead and structure this in a right way. And because we have so much work, we often just don't have to do that. And so my key takeaway was how to structure the work, how to plan the work ahead in order to have some regular routines, focus on the project management, how to find resources for projects. So our team also know how to plan their work, so how to align their baseline work and their project work. Also, I do believe that one of the most key takeaways was that it's really important to leverage the tools and the people that we have in the organization in order to make our project management more effective. And so we were sharing some examples of the tools and systems that can help us out in managing the projects. And also we were highlighting the importance of having somebody actually specializing in project management, because obviously having the knowledge about global mobility is the key one in order to contribute from subject matter expertise perspective. But then we also need people who actually know what methodologies should we follow, what tools can be leveraged, what are the phases of the project, how the project should be triggered and processed and closed. So I do believe that if we have such people in our organization, let it be in our global mobility team, but maybe in the organization as a whole, I think the one of the main takeaways was to just leverage that and benefit from that.
See you next time.
See you next time.
See you next time.
See you next time during the GMJ Congress. Bye.
Thanks very much. See you next time. Bye.